You ever wondered why the woman you like just doesn't seem to notice you, no matter how good you are to her? Why she lights up for one guy who barely tries, but acts cold when you're the one giving her everything? Welcome back to the channel, fellas. This is where we strip away the confusion and talk real about what makes women tick, what attracts them, and how to flip the script when she's not interested. This video is all about how to make any woman want you, even when she doesn't at first. And no, it's not about manipulation or fake confidence. It's about understanding female psychology, how attraction works in the mind of a woman, why logic doesn't always apply, and what you can do to awaken genuine desire. Most men chase approval, while the ones women actually want trigger emotion. And that's what separates nice guys from men who actually get noticed. The truth is, women don't always respond to kindness alone. They respond to presence, to energy, to how you make them feel. A woman's interest can shift the moment you understand what truly drives her instincts. And that's exactly what we're breaking down today. So stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand why women act uninterested, what you've been doing wrong, and how to change the dynamic completely. Not by pretending, but by learning how to lead with confidence, mystery, and emotional intelligence. 1. The truth about female desire. Most men grow up believing that women are attracted to the same things men are: looks, money, or gestures of affection. But here's the raw truth. Female desire is not built on surface-level attraction. It's psychological, emotional, and deeply instinctive. What makes a woman want a man isn't always what makes sense on paper. That's why a woman can turn down a man who treats her like a queen, yet lose her breath for one who barely says a word but carries himself with quiet confidence. The difference lies in the emotional experience each man gives her. Women are emotional beings by nature. And that's not an insult, it's biology. Desire, for them, doesn't come from seeing how available a man is. It comes from feeling something powerful around him. She's drawn to energy more than words, confidence more than compliments, and certainty more than perfection. The man who understands this stops chasing and starts leading. He realizes that desire isn't earned by proving his worth. It's sparked by embodying it. Think about it. When a man is desperate for attention, he's sending one message loud and clear. You are above me. And nothing kills attraction faster than imbalance. On the other hand, when a man moves with purpose, when he's not shaken by rejection, when his focus is on his mission instead of her validation, that's when something shifts in her mind. Suddenly, she starts wondering why he's not chasing her like everyone else. Curiosity turns into interest, and interest turns into desire. The truth about female desire is that it's reactive. She responds to how you make her feel about herself in your presence. If she feels safe, yet challenged, if she feels admired, but not worshipped, if she senses you could walk away without resentment, you instantly become a mystery worth solving. That's where the fire begins. So the secret isn't to make her like you, it's to trigger the part of her that respects you. Respect is the foundation of desire. Once a woman respects you, attraction naturally follows. She doesn't want the man who constantly seeks her attention. She wants the man who commands it effortlessly. And that's not arrogance, that's understanding psychology. By the end of this journey, you'll stop asking, how do I make her want me? And start realizing, how do I make her feel something real? Because once you do that, even the woman who seemed completely uninterested will begin to see you differently. Not as a man who's trying to win her over, but as a man she doesn't want to lose. 2. Why she's not interested. Let's be honest, nothing stings quite like realizing the woman you want just isn't interested. You call, she delays replying. You text, she gives short answers. You show effort and she seems cold. But here's where most men get it wrong. They take her lack of interest as a verdict, not a message. When a woman isn't interested, it's not always because she doesn't like you as a person. Sometimes it's because she doesn't feel anything yet. Women don't fall for men logically, they fall emotionally. You can check every box, be successful, kind, funny, or generous, and still fail to spark that pull inside her. Why? Because attraction isn't built on logic. It's built on energy, presence, and timing. A woman might see you as a nice guy, but niceness alone doesn't move her. It doesn't make her heartbeat quicken or make her curious about what's next. Niceness is expected. What's rare is the man who can make her feel. Often, when she's not interested, it's because you're giving too much too soon. You're trying to convince her you're the right choice instead of showing her through your confidence and boundaries. You might be texting too fast, agreeing with everything she says, or making her the center of your attention before she's earned that place. Subconsciously, that tells her you don't value your time or options. And women sense that instantly. A man who doesn't guard his attention appears emotionally cheap, and women don't desire what comes too easily. Another reason she's not interested is emotional predictability. If every interaction feels safe but boring, she loses curiosity. Attraction thrives in mystery, in contrast, in a little tension. A woman wants to wonder about a man. She wants to think, what is it about him that feels different? But if she can predict every word, every move, every compliment, her brain switches off. The excitement fades before it even begins. Sometimes, though, her disinterest isn't about you. It's about where she is emotionally. Maybe she's healing, guarded, or testing you. Women often test not because they enjoy rejection, but because they want to feel something real before opening up. When you react with frustration or desperation, it confirms her doubts. But when you stay calm, composed, and focused on your life, that test turns into curiosity. So don't see her lack of interest as rejection. See it as feedback. It's her way of saying, you haven't made me feel something yet. And that's fixable. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to shift how you show up. Don't chase her attention. Create energy she wants to be around. The moment you stop seeking validation and start radiating purpose, you'll notice her behavior change. She'll start paying attention, not because you demanded it, but because she can't help it. That's the power of understanding why she's not interested. Because once you know the reason, you can change the game completely. 3. What you're doing wrong. Most men don't realize that their biggest mistakes with women aren't about looks, money, or social status. They're about behavior. It's not that women don't like you. It's that the way you're showing up is sending the wrong signals. Every man has good intentions, but intention doesn't always translate into attraction. So, let's talk about the wrong things you might be doing, the right ways to fix them, and how to shift from being overlooked to being desired. The first major wrong is chasing instead of attracting. When you constantly call, text, or go out of your way to please her, you may think you're showing interest, but what she feels is pressure. It tells her you've already placed her above yourself, and women instinctively lose interest when they sense that imbalance. The right thing to do is pull back and let your actions match your words. Show interest, but don't revolve your world around her. Keep your life moving, stay focused on your goals, and let her see that she's stepping into your energy, not becoming your entire focus. The second wrong is trying too hard to impress. You talk too much about your achievements, compliment her endlessly, or act overly agreeable just to win her favor. But here's the truth. Attraction doesn't come from convincing her how great you are. It comes from how confident you are in silence. The correction? Stop selling yourself. Let your energy speak before your words do. Be comfortable with pauses, maintain eye contact, and hold your space like a man who knows his worth without needing to prove it. Another common mistake is overexposure, being too available too soon. You respond immediately to every message, you rearrange your schedule for her, and you make yourself predictable. That kills curiosity. The right move is balance. Don't ignore her, but create space for her to miss you. Let her wonder what you're up to. It's not about playing games, it's about showing you have a full life that doesn't pause for anyone. That sense of independence is magnetic. Then there's emotional neediness, a silent killer of attraction. When your mood depends on her responses, when a single ignored message ruins your day, she feels that energy, and it drains her interest. The fix: emotional control. Learn to master your reactions. If she pulls away, you stay calm. If she tests you, you smile. That self-control signals strength, and strength is irresistible. Lastly, forgetting your masculine frame is where most men lose it. The right way is not to dominate or act tough, but to stay grounded in who you are no matter what. Women are drawn to men who lead calmly, not with ego, but with direction. You correct this by aligning your actions with purpose. Your words mean something, your time matters, and your life has momentum. Once you correct these mistakes, something shifts. You stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. You become the man she doesn't just notice. She feels drawn to, even if she didn't at first. Because now, your energy tells her exactly what kind of man you are. One she doesn't want to lose. 4. How attraction really works. Attraction isn't magic, and it isn't luck. It's energy. It's the invisible force that pulls people together, not because of what they see, but because of what they feel. And when you truly understand how attraction works, you stop chasing women. They start noticing you without you even trying. Most men think attraction is something they must earn. But here's the truth. Attraction isn't something you get. It's something you create through who you become. A woman doesn't fall for a man because he buys her gifts, compliments her constantly, or bends over backward to please her. She falls for the man who makes her feel something she doesn't feel with anyone else. She feels it in his calmness, his focus, his confidence. She senses it in his tone, in how he carries himself, in how he doesn't rush to prove anything. That quiet strength, that unspoken assurance, awakens something deep within her. It tells her, this man is different. And that's where attraction begins. Attraction works like gravity. You don't see it, but you feel its pull. It comes from emotional chemistry, not physical effort. When a man is truly grounded, when he's proud of who he is and doesn't need approval, his energy naturally draws people toward him. Women pick up on that instantly. They can sense when a man's confidence comes from within versus when he's pretending. That's why you can't fake it. You have to build it from the inside out. The motivational truth is this: attraction starts with self-respect. When you respect yourself, you move differently. You stop over-explaining, you stop chasing validation, and you stop accepting crumbs of attention. You begin to walk like a man who knows his value, not because someone told you, but because you've earned it through your discipline, your growth, and your purpose. That kind of energy is rare, and women can feel it before you even speak. You see, women aren't just looking for good looks or status. They're looking for emotional leadership. They want to feel safe enough to relax around you, yet challenged enough to stay intrigued. Attraction happens when she feels both security and excitement in your presence. When she can't predict your next move, but knows your intentions are genuine. When she senses that your confidence isn't arrogance, but self-assurance. That's when desire takes root. So, stop thinking attraction is about doing more. It's about being more. Work on your mindset, your emotional balance, your body, your goals. Every step you take toward becoming your best version increases your magnetic pull. You won't have to beg for attention when you embody purpose. Attention will find you. That's how attraction truly works. It's not about tricks or tactics. It's about transformation. When you become the kind of man who moves with certainty, peace, and vision, women can't help but notice. They may not know why they're drawn to you, but you will, because you finally understand that real attraction begins with the man in the mirror. 5. Triggering emotional connection. If attraction gets her attention, emotional connection is what keeps it. It's what turns curiosity into craving and interest into attachment. A woman can be attracted to many men, but she connects deeply with the one who makes her feel something real, something that goes beyond surface charm. And here's the persuasive truth. When you master the art of emotional connection, you stop competing for attention. You become unforgettable. Every woman wants to feel seen, not just looked at. She wants to be understood, not just admired. The reason most men fail isn't that they're not good enough. It's that they don't make her feel emotionally safe while keeping her emotionally intrigued. You can't build connection by trying to impress her. You build it by being present. When you truly listen, when you engage her mind and not just her beauty, she starts lowering her guard. Because suddenly, she's not talking to another man who wants something from her. She's talking to a man who gets her. To trigger emotional connection, you have to learn the balance between vulnerability and strength. Most men think vulnerability is weakness, but it's actually magnetic when done right. When you're honest about your journey, your struggles, your ambitions, your lessons, it shows authenticity. It tells her, this man isn't pretending. And women crave that kind of realness in a world full of masks. But here's the key. You share without oversharing. You open up just enough to let her see the man behind the confidence, while still maintaining the mystery that keeps her curious. Emotional connection is also built through emotional leadership. That means being the calm in her storm. When she's upset, you don't match her energy, you steady it. When she's distant, you don't panic, you remain consistent. That calmness triggers a deep psychological switch in her. She begins to associate you with emotional security. You become her peace. And every woman desires a man who can be her peace without losing his own. But let's be clear. Connection isn't about always agreeing or being overly nice. It's about creating emotional contrast. Sometimes you have to challenge her respectfully. You have to stand firm on your boundaries, say what you mean, and mean what you say. That tension creates respect, and respect deepens connection. When she knows you're not afraid to speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable, she starts to trust your masculinity. The most persuasive thing you can ever do is make her feel something she can't explain. When your presence gives her comfort, excitement, and security all at once, she starts to see you as more than just an option. You become an experience. That's the difference between a man she forgets and a man she can't stop thinking about. So stop trying to win women with effort. Win them with essence. The deeper the emotional connection you create, the less you'll ever have to chase. Because once she feels that connection, she'll chase the feeling, and that means she'll chase you. 6. Becoming the man. She notices. Every man wants to be noticed, but not every man understands what actually makes a woman's attention lock in. It's not about being the loudest in the room, the most handsome, or the richest. It's about being the most centered. The man she notices is the one who stands out not because he's trying to, but because his energy silently demands it. To become that man, you have to understand what truly separates average men from those who leave an unforgettable impression. First, you need to grasp that women are highly observant. They don't just see you, they read you. They pick up on your posture, tone, confidence, and how you treat yourself. A man who doesn't respect himself, who speaks without intention, or who moves without purpose, automatically fades into the background. But when you walk with direction, when you maintain calmness, even in chaos, you stand out without even speaking. That's because women are instinctively drawn to stability. They feel it before they understand it. Being noticeable starts with inner alignment. A man who knows his mission, who's chasing growth rather than approval, radiates a different energy. You become magnetic when your focus shifts from "how can I impress her" to "how can I improve myself?" The moment your priorities shift inward, your presence begins to speak for you. Women respect men who have discipline, purpose, and boundaries. It tells them you're not desperate for attention. You're selective about where you give it. And that subtle difference changes everything. Another key element is emotional intelligence. A man who can read situations, who doesn't overreact, and who communicates with intention creates a sense of psychological safety. When you respond calmly, instead of reacting impulsively, you teach her that you're not controlled by emotion. You control emotion. That calm leadership is rare, and it's what makes women trust you. Once she trusts your composure, she'll start valuing your presence more than your words. Don't forget that how you carry yourself physically also plays a major role. Grooming, posture, eye contact, and the way you dress all communicate self-respect. You don't need expensive clothes, you need intentionality. When you look like you care about yourself, the world reflects that same respect back to you. Women notice men who pay attention to detail because it shows awareness, and awareness signals maturity. Finally, becoming the man she notices means being unpredictable in the right way. Not erratic, but dynamic. Be the man who can make her laugh, but also challenge her mind. Be the one who's kind yet firm, relaxed yet ambitious. That duality creates fascination because it shows depth, and depth is what women remember. Education isn't just about learning facts, it's about learning how to embody wisdom. And wisdom here means knowing that you don't need to chase validation when you can command it. The moment you master your energy, your focus, and your peace, you become the man she can't ignore. Not because you forced her to see you, but because you became impossible to overlook. 7. Turning rejection into respect. Rejection. It's every man's nightmare, yet it's the very thing that shapes the kind of man women can't resist. Most men fear it because they see it as failure. But the truth? Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's a test of your mindset. What separates weak men from powerful men isn't that one never gets rejected. It's how they handle it when it happens. The moment you learn to turn rejection into respect, you stop losing power and start gaining presence. When a woman turns you down, you have two choices: react emotionally or respond intelligently. Most men crumble. They get defensive, cold, or start questioning their value. That's the mistake. Because when you act hurt, you confirm that her opinion defines your self-esteem. But when you stay composed, when you smile, wish her well, and move forward, you instantly communicate strength. That's emotional maturity, and women feel that. You've shown her that your confidence isn't fragile. It's built on something deeper than her approval. Rejection becomes powerful when you use it as fuel instead of pain. Every no is feedback. Maybe your timing was off. Maybe your energy wasn't aligned. Or maybe she wasn't capable of seeing your value yet. And that's fine. The point is, you learn, you grow, and you elevate. Because here's what most men don't realize. Women remember how you handled rejection more than the rejection itself. If you walk away with grace, you plant a seed of curiosity. That seed might not sprout immediately, but it lingers. She'll think about how calm, how self-assured, how different you were. And that's when respect begins to form. Turning rejection into respect is also about emotional discipline. You don't beg for her to reconsider. You don't try to prove why she made a mistake. You show through your actions that your life moves with or without her interest. Keep working on yourself. Keep improving your body, your finances, your mindset, your peace. Because every time you level up after rejection, you send a message, not just to her, but to the world, that you don't break, you rebuild stronger. And let's be real, women are drawn to men who can handle loss with dignity. It shows leadership, resilience, and self-respect. 3 traits every woman subconsciously craves in a man. The man who can be told no and still walk tall is the man she eventually sees as irreplaceable. Because while most men would collapse, he stays composed, centered, and unfazed. That's rare, that's masculine, that's unforgettable. So don't run from rejection, use it. Let it refine you, not define you. Let it sharpen your confidence, not shatter it. Because the moment you stop fearing rejection, you stop chasing validation. And when you stop chasing, you naturally rise above the crowd. That's when women notice. Not because you begged for their approval, but because you earned their respect through your strength. And respect, my friend, is the first step to desire. At the end of the day, making a woman want you isn't about tricks, games, or manipulation. It's about transformation. It's about becoming the kind of man whose presence speaks louder than his words. When you understand how women think, when you respect yourself, control your emotions, and move with quiet confidence, everything changes. Women are drawn to strength wrapped in calmness, to passion balanced by purpose. So stop trying to win her over. Start working on becoming unshakable. Because when you become that man, attraction isn't something you chase, it's something you naturally command. That's real power.